And it goes into a trust fund anyway, not like you.
No.
So this is a good thing.
It's
Good.
good.
Oh, yeah.
At this time, we'll open up the meeting, the Garden Grove City Council meeting. Kathy, could you please call roll?
Councilmember Beard.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Fawn.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wynn.
Here.
Mayor Broadwater.
Here. Okay, we had two closed session items that we dealt with, and we have nothing to report on either one of them. And so we are going to have an invocation by Kingsley, and we'll have the flag salute by Chris Beard.
Okay, please prepare yourself according to your faith. Dear Lord, we ask for your blessings over this meeting tonight. And as we consider the issues before us, we ask that you give us wisdom, not to merely know what is right, but also the courage to do that which is right for our community. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our country. Ready to begin.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's my understanding that we have some presentations this evening.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have several, and Mr. Okariki will be making the presentations this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fattel. The first one we have is for Alan Trudell. I hope I'm saying the last name right. Tonight, the Garden Grove City Council is honored to shine the spotlight on an incredibly dedicated individual who has spent the last 32 years serving as Public Information Officer for the Garden Grove Unified School District. Would Alan Trudell please come forward to the podium? Aspiring to be a reporter at a young age, Alan studied journalism throughout his high school and received his bachelor's degree in communications with a concentration in public relations from Cal State Fullerton. Prior to his career with the district, Alan worked 3 years for a night writer, reporting and photographing Garden Grove news in the original Orange County News newspaper. He covered the Planning Commission, the police beat, the Garden Grove Unified School District, and wrote feature stories. On July 1, 1981, Allen began his career with the district as Public Information Officer, working behind the scenes and supporting staff. Allen is proud to be part of the evolution of the Garden Grove Unified School District into one of the best school systems in the state and the nation because of the tireless efforts of outstanding employees, parents, students, and community partners. It is, without a doubt, his support and devotion to the Garden Grove Unified School District that has made him a success within the organization. Allen and his wife, Angie, have 3 sons and 2 young grandchildren. During retirement, Allen plans to help around the house, ride his bike, and spend time with his family. Allen, the City Council extends their deepest appreciation for your distinguished service to the district and wishes you a long and healthy retirement. At this time, the Mayor and City Council would like to present you with a beautiful crystal memento in recognition and appreciation of your extraordinary years of service to the Garden Grove Unified School District.
Alan, would you please come forward?
Thank you very much.
You use that for a bowling pin.
I have room for that. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Can we get a picture? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Sorry, I need to get my phone.
This a new one?
You know what? Yeah, it is. Okay, let's see. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
Alan, would you like to say a few words?
Mayor Broadwater, members of the council, staff, thank you for this recognition this evening. I believe this recognition doesn't go just to me, but also to all of the employees of Garden Grove Unified School District, who I had the privilege to work with for those 32 years, those outstanding administrators, teachers, and support personnel, as well as our community partners, the cities that which we serve, and the public service agencies and community service agencies also. It's been one heck of a ride. I can think of no better occupation than public service. I'm sure you all agree with that. Working for the benefit of our community, as well as support of our children and their families, our communities too. And once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, tonight, the Garden Grove City Council officially designates 4 areas in our community as honorary Garden Grove landmarks. The City Council will be presenting resolutions to representatives from each of these areas. First off, we have the Korean Business District. In 2002, Garden Grove City Council designated a 2-mile stretch on Garden Grove Boulevard between Broker Street and Beach Boulevard as the Korean Business District. Today, the Korean Business District constitutes the highest concentration of Korean businesses in Orange County, with nearly 2,000 establishments in the area. Garden Grove City Council is honored to designate the Korean Business District as an honorary Garden Grove landmark. Would the representatives from the Korean Business District please come forward to accept the resolution? You have it? Yeah.
Designating Garden Grove's Korean Business District as a Garden Grove honorary landmark. And I read all the whereases, but he just read some of them, so I'll do it all. Whereas.
You move a little. In between, Dina and... Okay. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, one more.
Anyway, Mr. Mayor and our councilor, thank you very much for redesignating this Korean district. You know, when I actually moved from Oregon to here, first stop was Garden Grove, and at the time, you know, the Garden Grove was the Koreatown in Orange County. And now it looks like a little bit, you know, kind of going away, but we want to bring it back. Okay, so I think Matt is helping us, and Steve is helping us, and Aldina, Chris, 2 Chris, and you know, 1 Steve, 1 Dina, 1 Bruce, helping us too. Especially we have Garden Grove Boulevard from monument to monument. We tried to the Garden Grove, this town, famous for Korean barbecue town. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the next presentation is for Little Saigon. In 1975, Little Saigon began with a small cluster of stores among strawberry and orange fields. Today, more than 4,000 businesses exist in a 20-acre area shared by the cities of Garden Grove, Westminster, Fountain Valley, and Santa Ana. In December 2002, the city approved the installation of 2 monument signs designating a half-mile stretch along Brookhurst Street from the south of the Garden Grove Freeway to north of Hazard Avenue, containing approximately 1,000 businesses as Little Saigon, Vietnamese business district of Garden Grove. The Garden Grove City Council is honored to designate the Little Saigon as an honorary Garden Grove landmark. Please, would the representative from Little Saigon please come forward to accept the resolution from the mayor.
Please come forward. Designate Little Saigon as a Garden Grove honorary landmark. I can say that when we did put those 2 large signs up, that we shut down traffic all the way to Pacific Coast Highway that day. The police chief was really getting on me saying, Bruce, you got to do something, you got to do something. So we were all on a bus going from one sign to the other. I remember I said to somebody, how do you say hurry up in Vietnamese? Probably the only words I know in Vietnamese are Malin, Malin, Malin. Congratulations.
Oh, someone else is coming.
Wide lens.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Council, if I may have a few words, just to use up our 5 minutes to introduce some of the members that are here today. My name is Joe Dovin. I've been a previous Board of Appeals Commissioner as well as Planning Commissioner, and I came to the city of Garden Grove about a dozen years ago. And Little Saigon was already a thriving community. Thanks to all the original founders, some of whom are here today, and I'd like to mention some of their names and invite them to the podium and use the remainder of the balance of the 5 minutes that we have so they can tell all of you a little bit more about the Little Saigon that we have here in Garden Grove. First of all, I'd like to introduce the chairman of the Vietnamese community of Southern California, Mr. Lê Khắc Ly, who is our representative today to accept the plaque. We also have Dr. Tuân Nguyen, who's also on Tuân Pham, who's one of our original founders of the Little Saigon Committee. We have Mr. Nguyen Man Chi, who's also here from the Vietnamese community. And I'd also invite the distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please come up so we can recognize all of you here tonight. We have Professors Giang Đức Thanh Phong. We have Professor Nguyen Tu Mo. We have Mr. Phùng Minh Tiến, all our original founders of the Little Saigon Committee that formed Little Saigon 25 years ago, and motivated the community to come together to build what we have come to know as the first and largest Little Saigon community, not just in California, but in the US of A. And we're proud to be the home to the largest Vietnamese American community in the world. So please, everybody, give a hand to the distinguished ladies and gentlemen who are here tonight. And I would like to give the balance of the time to Mr. Lê Khắc Lý to say a few words of thanks to the Mayor and the City Council. Mr. Lee.
Honorable Mayor Bruce Portwater, and city members of Garden Grove City and city staff. Thank you very much for thinking about us. 25 years ago in 1988, when we worked hard, after 1 year work hard together, the community elect us as the committee, 14 people, but today 5 of them have passed away. We have 9 people alive here. We success with the inauguration presided by Governor Duke Mason on June 17, 1988. Inaugurate Little Saigon area by unveiling the sign, the exit sign that you see on 22nd Freeway and 405 Freeway. And we are very glad, and we thank the City of Garden Grove as well as the City of Westminster and Santa Ana and Fountain Valley, and the people of the all the cities there and the Vietnamese community. We thank all of them for supporting us in order to get Little Saigon established on 17th of June 1988. And we thank you today for City of Garden Grove to remember us and designate the honorary landmark in Garden Grove City. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Next presentation is for the Grove District. Since the 1990s, the City of Garden Grove has focused on the commercial development, aesthetic improvement, financial vitality of Harbor Boulevard to create one of the most modern, vibrant, and patronized tourist destinations in Orange County. Today, Harbor Boulevard boasts 9 brand-name hotels and 5 restaurants, along with a future Great Wolf Lodge, Water Park Resort, and several planned high-end and business-class hotels. This year, Harbor Boulevard enters a new era as the district is renamed Grove District Anaheim Resort. The Garden Grove City Council is honored to designate Grove District as an honorary Garden Grove landmark. Will the representative from the Grove District please come forward to accept this resolution?
One more.
Okay.
All right. Next, and the final presentation is for historic downtown Main Street. With roots dating back to the era of the Spanish California ranchers in the mid-1800s, Main Street Garden Grove has stood as the original center of our city for nearly 140 years. In 1927, Leo Zlaket Sr. opened a general store on Main Street. In October of 1995, Main Street Merchants held the first Friday night car show. Both of these exist today and continue to gain popularity. According to the City of Garden Grove planning records, Main Street is considered a historical retail zone and is designated as a place of special character, aesthetic interest, and value. The Garden Grove City Council is honored to designate historic downtown Main Street as an honorary Garden Grove landmark. Would the representative from downtown Main Street please come forward to accept this resolution?
Designating the historic downtown Main Street a Garden Grove honorary landmarks.
I know everybody on Main Street will be real excited about this. It's kind of been exciting down there. I've been back in Garden Grove for about a year now, and I grew up in the town. I remember Wheeler's Market, the gym when it was open. I graduated from Garden Grove High School in '73. I remember before Koreatown and Little Saigon existed, and it's kind of been exciting for me to come back to Garden Grove and see how the community's blended and everything, and it's nice to be part of Main Street. And I know everybody on Main Street's real excited about the city, where we're going. We thank you guys for doing our crosswalks and planting some trees for us and helping us beautify it a little bit, and thank you very much.
Okay, at this time we will go to oral communications to be held simultaneously with the successor agency in the sanitary district. Grace. Beatrice Jones.
Ready? Mr. Mayor, council, staff, and community. I'm B. Jones, a 40-year resident of the city of Garden Grove, who is intently interested in keeping my city aware and my citizens aware of historical facts that deal with flags that impact our lives, or should. Tonight, I want to give you the date, August 17th, as Flag Day, recognition of the universal African flag, which I have shown you many times, and you should be very familiar with it, the 17th of August. I'm grateful to Councilman Fan for acknowledging recognition of this date, and I want to share with you what he already knows about our Flag Day. Our mission is really to carry on the tradition of the first Flag Day observance. And this was an observance that goes back to 1920. It was about 25,000 international delegates that commemorated the UNIA, or the Universal Negro Improvement Association, adoption of the red, black, and green as the official colors of the African race in August. This observance was also the beginning of Marcus Garvey's years of fervent, devoted effort to bring about national recognition and observance of the universal African flag. It was seen at rallies, parades, and the ladder speakers, who were all over Harlem in the 1920s, had the flag attached to those ladders. They spoke of the black man and the black woman's plight at that time, sharing that with the people. We didn't have computers and stuff then. The vexillological world that I operate in took recognition of this flag 50 years later, in 1970, and you began to see their quote, Afro flag in its catalogs. Dr. Ryan Daniels, in his promotion of August the 17th as Garvey birthday, as the Universal African Flag Day, said, quote, "The flag should become a symbol of the aspirations of African people for unity, self-determination, and development." Sinone Jamaican African flags joins forces with all community groups and individuals that love our flag. We initiate efforts to support the dream to have the nation and the world fittingly commemorate the birthday of the flag, August 17th. Our goal is to teach and carry the message of the history of the black flag in America. We plan to carry that message of the universal African flag to our future leaders of our great country, which is primarily our youth. And I hope that you will join us in our mission by proudly displaying your flag, wearing it, or sharing that information of our Universal African Flag Day. And remember always what Garvey declared way back: show me a people without a flag, and I'll show you some people who have no pride. Remember our Flag Day Saturday. Thank you very much.
Robert Douglas, running for Rancho.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Honorable Mayor and City Council and City Manager and staff. I am here today to let the City of Garden Grove, I am running for Rancho San Diego Community College District 4 for board member. And the reason I am running is because we need a change in that district. The present board member is complacent, and I believe we need fresh ideals. Originally, I'll tell you something about my background. Originally, I'm from Warren, Ohio. I'm a Midwestern, just like you, sir. And I have some of that values from the Midwest to bring to Garden Grove. I taught at Garden Grove High School, ROP instructor, and also at Westwood College as a professor there. I have some background here in Garden Grove. It's a great city and great leaders here. And I also have a master's degree in criminal justice, and I served 20 years reserve deputy sheriff. I have served 7.5 years as a Marine sergeant, retired 36 years from the post office, and I live in Orange. I have been active in Orange, and so I'm kind of well known in the city of Orange, and I like to let myself be known in Garden Grove, and I hope that I leave my material here, and I hope that all of you will support me and endorse me in my candidacy in November 2014. I'm a hard worker, and I will do a good job and represent this area in Garden Grove like it should be, because it's not being represented. And that's the reason I came down to let the residents here know who I am. And I'm reaching out. I'm reaching out to not just the leaders here in Garden Grove, I'm not a politician. I am just a individual, a concerned citizen that want to represent this great community and to ensure that their children here go to an institution, a 2-year institution, to be able to get the classes they need to transfer to a university and ensure that they are well protected and have their safety on campus. And I look at this as a change in society. We cannot think back 30 years ago. We need to bring in technology to these students, engineers, medical fields. And, of course, we keep the vocational education in the institution, but we need to go beyond. And so that's some of my issues, and I'd like to, again, leave my material and hope to hear from you on your endorsement and support. I really need it, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate to come up here and allow me to speak today, and I thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. How far does the district come over into Garden Grove? It's Euclid Avenue, isn't it?
Just about the whole city of Garden Grove.
A long way from being the whole city. You've got 2 other districts that mash into the city.
Well, if what they have gave me so far is just about 3/4 of the city, what they gave me, the literature. They redistrict, I believe.
Well, we didn't hear about it. Good luck to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Peter Katz.
Good evening, council and staff and residents of Garden Grove. Mr. Mayor, you all know me. I'm Peter Katz. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Vietnam War Museum of America Foundation to promote a couple of events that we're putting on this fall. Fundraising events for the museum, the golf tournament at the Navy Golf Course in Seal Beach, and the All-American Boys Chorus concert for veterans, which will be held right here in this facility. But before I do, I'd like to make a few comments here. General MacArthur once said, "Old soldiers never die, they just fade away." As an old soldier, I'm still alive and have no intentions of fading away. Last Wednesday, I attended an event on the Circle in Orange that was very touching. Over 100 vets were there. And I won't name this veteran because veterans sometimes are anonymous. We continue to give back to our community long after we've served. But this veteran fought with General Patton at the Battle of the Bulge in 1944, and he was a hero. He won the Purple Heart, but he never collected it until last week when the Vice Chair of the Armed Services Committee, Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez, pinned that Purple Heart on this soldier who was 94 years old. He stood in that circle with tears coming down his eyes and accepted that medal for the first time in his career. When he got out of the service, he took advantage of the service under the GI Bill. He went to college. He didn't get 1 degree. He didn't get 2 degrees. He got 5 degrees. He was a doctor, a dentist, an optometrist, and he also served on the Anaheim City Council. And today he's still giving back. So soldiers like myself, who are a member of the Museum War Board, continue to keep on giving. If you know a soldier that hasn't received a medal or has lost their medal, contact the Congresswoman's office. That's part of their job, and they will see that they get another one or get that medal. I know there's a lot of Korean vets that there was a medal that was issued long after they served with the Korean campaign that have not been claimed. So if you know a vet, check with them. But I'm also involved in another veterans issue. I'm part of a committee to get the city of Irvine to put a veterans cemetery at the Great Park. Last week met with the Irvine City Council, Christine Shea, and we have some really great vibes. Taking a look at the state of California, 1/2 of all veterans are in Southern California, 1/3 of them are here in Orange County, yet there's no state veteran cemetery south of San Francisco. The 4 national veteran cemeteries in Southern California, Miramar and Los Angeles, are already closed to burials. The only 2 left are Arlington at Riverside and the one at Bakersfield. So the state is pretty enthusiastic about helping us here. There's 800 acres that belong to the FBI for an old pistol range that they're not using, and it's contaminated soil, so there can never be anything put on it. The developer, 5 Points, is in favor of it, so it's a matter of trying to put this together. And so it's just another area where I'm giving of some of myself. Several members of this council will be going to the Sister City program in Korea. We recognize the Korean Business District here tonight. I served in Korea under an emergency situation. I was stationed at Uijeonbu at the Panmunjom Bridge after Commander Lloyd Booker and the USS Pueblo was seized off the coast of Korea, and we thought we were going to war again in Korea. So these battles are never over. But tonight I want to talk to you about these 2 events to support our museum effort. The event at the Navy Golf Tournament, you can't beat the deal from what I understand for golfers on the greens fees and the meal that goes along with it. It's October 23rd at the Navy Golf Course, 56600 Orangewood Avenue in Cypress. And you can contact us at our website, www.vnwma.com. And please support our veterans. And the other concert that we have is on September 26, 2013 at 6:30 p.m., and that's a Thursday night, and it's free to all veterans and $10 to the public. So it's be right here. And please reserve a site for it. You can get ticket information at 714-708-1670, extension 16. So once again, support our veterans. They're still fighting because, as I always say, freedom is never free. So if anybody needs any information, then I also have bumper stickers for the Great Park Cemetery. So stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles Mitchell.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council and staff. Last Thursday, I was surprised when I opened the Orange County Register to find a copy of the Garden Grove Journal. The journal looked great. Sorry to say that, Jim, but it looked even better than it usually does. Now, the journal has been in publication for decades, and I can imagine how Jim and Marilyn must feel after all that time and all that effort to give it up. But on another note, it's kind of like raising a child. When they reach maturity and move out on their own, there's a sense of pride and a sense of loss. But I think the Garden Grove Journal will continue to be a great supplement of the Orange County Register. And I think Jim and Marilyn deserve a chance to move on to other aspects of their lives. I know they're involved in a lot of other things. But I hope that in the future, the Orange County Register will find occasion to include one of Jim's editorials. I always enjoyed reading them. I didn't always agree, but I still enjoyed reading his columns. and hopefully we'll see some more in the Orange County Register in the Journal section. Now, moving on to a sadder note, recently we suffered another loss of an American hero, Colonel George E. Bud Day. Colonel Day fought in 3 wars, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. He was a pilot. He was shot down over Vietnam, and he spent 5.5 years in captivity, most of those in the terrible Hanoi Hilton. His roommate there was Senator John McCain, and John McCain wrote about him that he was a great man and he saved my life. Now, it's difficult to imagine how many heroes and veterans we are losing every day. And among Colonel Day's decorations, which numbered over 70, was the Medal of Honor. Now, there's another Medal of Honor recipient that many people in Garden Grove know because of his speeches at our memorial service for our lost police officers. Walter Ehlers, unfortunately, has had another accident and he's back in the hospital. And I hope that our hopes and prayers for a speedy recovery will reach him. So, Mr. Mayor, if you would please, in honor of Colonel George Day, close this meeting in his honor. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no other cards here. Anybody else want to speak? Not at this time. We will close oral communications. We'll recess the Garden Grove City Council and go to the Successor Agency for business there.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll call the August 13th meeting of the Successor Agency to order. Madam Clerk, would you like to call roll?
Member Broadwater?
Here.
Member Wynn?
Here.
Member Fawn?
Here.
Vice Chair Beard?
Here.
Chair Jones?
Here. I'll move to consent items. We only have one item, the approval of the warrants. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Call the vote.
Member Wynn? Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Thank you. We have 2 items for consideration. 4A.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, 4A is an agreement with Rick Engineering for design and construction services for the Harbor Boulevard landscape project, and Bill Murray is here to give a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fertel, Chairman Jones, and members of the board. Tonight, the board is being asked to approve an agreement with Rick Engineering for the preparation of construction drawings and specifications for the reconstruction of the centerline median on Harbor Boulevard from Garden Grove Boulevard to Twin Tree, which is actually Phase 1 of a 2-phase project. Phase 2 will extend the landscaping to Chapman Avenue and is listed under consent items for the City Council. The project will upgrade the existing landscaping and irrigation in the median. The landscaping concepts and elements were coordinated with the hotel management along Harbor Boulevard and will complement existing landscaping such as that's in place or in front of the renovated McDonald's. The project will also include the design of a master plan storm drain extension from Lamson going past Twin Tree. Staff received and opened 4 proposals and rated them on key components. Rick Engineering was rated the highest, and staff negotiated a fee of almost $270,000 for the work. Should the board decide to award the contract tonight, and subsequently the oversight board approve the award, the design could begin in late August and should be complete by May of next year. This project was included in this year's capital improvement plan and would be paid for with 50% EDA grant funding and 50% RDA trust funds. This concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Motion?
I move the issue.
Second.
Call the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Thank you. 4B.
Mr. Chairman, 4B is to consider a comprehensive plan of financing for the outstanding debt of the successor agency, including our 2003 bonds and the proposal to issue bonds for the Water Park Hotel. And Kingsley Okereke is here to give a staff report on this item.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Patel. Mr. Chairman, board members, the item, with this item, we are requesting that you adopt the attached resolutions approving the plan of finance, which authorizes the issuance of refunding bonds to refinance the outstanding 2003 tax allocation bonds and the Water Park DDA enforceable obligation. Over the past year and a half, staff has worked hard to comply with all the requirements of AB 26 and AB 1484. Those are the statutes governing the dissolution of the redevelopment agency. And we have come to the point now where we are focusing on the financing and long-term financial structure of the successor agency. And basically, we are looking at two major long-term debts of the agency, and looking to restructure this debt to reduce cost, which is the primary reason, and secondly, to address the financing requirement for the Water Park Hotel DDA enforceable obligation. And before I go further, I just want to clarify, and we did have a study session on this last week, on the 6th, Tuesday the 6th. And one thing to clarify here is that all monies that we're talking about today relate to the redevelopment agency and the tax increments that are coming out of the trust fund held at the county. It does not have anything to do with the city's general fund or any of the city's special other funds. So this is strictly the agency-related tax increment monies that are held at the county that will fund all these bonds. And moving forward, basically what we're recommending to you tonight is to approve the consolidated refunding of the two large outstanding debts of the agency. And those include the 2003 tax allocation bonds, which has approximately $42.3 million outstanding as of June 2013. And the second one is the recognized and approved enforceable obligation of $42 million under the Water Park Hotel DDA. Again, basically, the only reason we're bringing this forward is that we save a lot of money to refund the 2000 tax allocation bonds in today's low-interest environment. The analysis that we've done indicates that the refunding of these tabs will yield a net present value savings of approximately 9.3%. And in terms of cash flow, there's a projected cash flow savings of about $3.9 million from this refunding over the life of the bonds. Now, with regards to the Water Park $42 million enforceable obligation, the expectation today is that interest rate, we are in a very low interest rate environment, and interest rate is expected to rise much higher by 2015. We've done some sensitivity analysis, and that analysis shows that interest rates will have to only rise by 26 basis points by 2015 to pass the break-even point, at which point the financing cost and all the interest costs associated with this become significantly more expensive. Looking at it conversely, rates in 2015 will need to drop 46 basis points compared to today in order for waiting to make sense. So essentially, it does save us a lot of money to do the refinancing today. We strongly believe that it makes financial sense to move forward with this refunding plan. It's similar, to a typical home mortgage refinancing in a low-interest environment. Along this line, we have put together the legal and financial team necessary to move this thing forward. And we are asking that you approve the financing plan along with the financing team members that we have put together to effect the refunding. And following your approval tonight, the plan goes to the Oversight Board tomorrow for approval. And upon that approval from the Oversight Board, we will then ship it up to Sacramento to the Department of Finance for their review and approval. And once we secure Department of Finance approval, we will then finalize the bond documents and then proceed to go ahead and issue the bonds. And we have our bond counsel here, and with that, we can answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions?
Any questions of staff at this time? Or a motion?
I'll move the issue.
Second.
Call the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Any matters from agency members? Seeing none, we are adjourned.
Okay, at this time, we will go to the sanitary district.
Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Member Broadwater?
Here.
Member Jones?
Here.
Member Wynn?
Here.
Vice President Beard?
Here.
President Fawn?
Here. At this time, we'll go to consent items 2A, the approval of the amendment number 2 to the agreement among the City of Garden Grove, the district, and Republic Waste for solid waste handling services. May I call for a motion on this?
So moved.
Second.
Call for a vote, please.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
All right, we'll move to public hearings, 3A.
Mr. President, 3A is a series of public hearings to consider placing refuge collection charges on the property tax roll, and Monica Neely is here to give a staff report on this item.
President, members of the Sanitary District Board, Item 3A asks that the Sanitary District Board adopt the attached resolution and direct staff to file the necessary documentation with the county auditor for the collection of delinquent solid waste fees on the property tax roll.
Already has one.
Republic Waste Services bills customers quarterly for solid waste disposal. If a billing remains unpaid for a period of 60 days or more, at the end of the fiscal year, the assessment process is implemented. The last relevant billing was prepared and mailed in February of this year. All charges remaining on that billing became delinquent April 15th. 60 days after the delinquency date, the delinquent amount plus the associated 10% penalty may be filed with the county auditor. The amount submitted and recorded by parcel would be collected at the same time and in the same manner as the regular county property taxes. The parcels also become subject to the same penalties and to the same procedure for foreclosure and sale as provided for in ordinary county taxes. Prior to the fees becoming a lien against the property, the individual property owners are notified of the delinquent amount. To further ensure that all properties are aware of the potential lien, a notice announcing this hearing date was published in the Garden Grove Journal July 11th and July 18th. It is recommended that the Board of Directors conduct the public hearing, adopt the attached resolution approving the annual report, which identifies the unpaid bills, and direct staff to file the necessary documentation with the county for assessment on the appropriate parcels. This concludes staff's report, and we are available for questions.
Let me add that the presentation that we just gave relates to 3B instead of 3A, and I'm sorry about that. We have a numbering mixed up on the agenda and on the reporting. So we actually gave, staff actually gave the 3B report.
Do you have any questions for staff at this time?
What are we voting on?
Yes, we
on 3B.
3B.
Yes.
3B.
All three issues?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Open the public hearing.
At this time, is there anybody who would like to speak on the matter? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Madam Secretary, have you received any protests regarding this proposed assessment?
At this time, I'd like to enter into the record the following information. As of 5:30 p.m. August 13, 2013, the City Clerk's Office received a total of 0 protests on the unpaid charges for refuse disposal service to be collected on the property tax roll. Since 5:30 p.m., no protests have been received. There are a total of 1,491 parcels, and as a result, there is not a majority protest.
Thank you. Any discussions? So I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the resolution adopting the report and certifying a statement of delinquent and unpaid charges for refuse collection and disposal services to be collected on the property tax roll.
Move the item.
Second.
Call for a vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
All right, we'll switch back to item 3A now.
Yes.
Try that again. Item 3A relates to the Sanitary District's Improvement District Number 1. This improvement district is made up of those areas that, prior to becoming a subsidiary district of the city in 1997, were formerly in the Midway City Sanitary District. The Midway City Sanitary District collected sanitary service charges by placing them on the tax roll. In order to continue this system for these customers, the Sanitary Board must each year conduct a public hearing, adopt a tax resolution authorizing the collection on the tax roll of disposal and refuse collection fees in District Number 1, and direct staff to file the necessary documentation with the county for collection of the fees on the property tax bills. The service charge for the standard residential service in District Number 1 is $19.02 per month, or $228.24 per year. A written report has been prepared and filed with the Secretary containing a description of each parcel of real property receiving services for refuse collection in Improvement District Number 1 and the proposed charges for each parcel in conformity with the Garden Grove Sanitary District Ordinance Number 3. Staff recommends that the Sanitary District Board of Directors conduct a public hearing, adopt the attached resolution, and direct staff to file the necessary documentation with the county for the collection of the fees on the property tax bills. Again, this concludes staff's report, and we're available for questions.
Thank you. Questions? We'll open the floor up for a public hearing. Seeing no comments, we'll close the public hearing. Madam Secretary, any protests regarding this proposed assessment?
As of 5:30 p.m., August 13, 2013, the City Clerk's Office received no protest on the refuse collection and disposal charges for Improvement District Number 1 to be collected on the property tax roll. Since 5:30, no protests have been received. There are 5,594 parcels, and as a result, there is not a majority protest.
Any discussion, members? I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt this resolution as far as accepting the proposed assessment.
Move approval.
Second.
Call for a vote, please. We have no.
Received 5 yes votes.
Oh, sorry, madam. I always go forward like that. No more items for consideration, and no matters from the boards. At this time, we'll adjourn the sanitation district till August 27th at 6:30.
At this time, we'll reconvene the Garden Grove City Council and go to consent items.
Mr. Mayor, it's recommended that items 6A through 6M be acted on simultaneously unless a separate discussion is requested by a council member.
I'll move the whole list.
Second that.
Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
There are no public hearings. Let's go to items for consideration.
Your first item is 9A. It's an award of contract to All American Asphalt for a project on Harbor Boulevard and also on Euclid. And Bill Murray is here to give a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fertel. Mr. Mayor and members of the council, tonight council is being asked to award a contract to All American Asphalt for the reconstruction of the center medians on Harbor Boulevard from Trask to Westminster and on Euclid from Garden Grove to Lamson. The work will include complete removal and replacement of the curb, landscaping, and irrigation, and overlaying the adjacent pavement section. The median reconstruction with new landscaping will be done at a cost of nearly $2 million. Staff received and opened 5 bids on July 10th of this year and determined that All American Asphalt was the lowest responsible bidder. Should the council decide to award the contract tonight, the contractor can begin work in September and should be complete by March of next year. This project was included in this year's capital improvement plan and will be paid for with Measure M, gas tax, and federal highway safety improvement funds. This concludes staff's report.
Any questions for staff? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Jones? Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Let's go to 9B.
Mr. Mayor, 9B is an award of contract to R.J. Noble Company for the 2013 Residential Street Rehabilitation Project. Mr. Murray will give a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fertel, Mr. Mayor, and the members of the council. Tonight, council is being asked to award a contract to R.J. Noble for the reconstruction of residential streets located in various, it's citywide, kind of various locations. And the work by the contractor will generally include pavement overlays and will cost almost $650,000. City crews will prepare the streets for the work, and the contractor will come in afterwards to put on the fresh overlays. Staff received and opened 4 bids on July 1st of this year and determined that R.J. Noble was the lowest responsible bidder. Should the council decide to award the contract tonight, the contractor can begin work in September and will continue working throughout the fiscal year as these projects come up. This project was included in this year's capital improvement plan and will be paid for with gas tax. This concludes staff's report.
Any questions for staff? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
Move approval.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
9C.
Mr. Mayor, 9C is an award of contract to R.J. Noble Company for street rehabilitation projects, Westminster Avenue, Chapman Avenue, Gardenville Boulevard, and Mr. Murray is here to give a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Patel, Mr. Mayor, and members of the council. Tonight, council is being asked to award a contract to R.J. Noble for the reconstruction of Westminster Avenue from Brookers to Bowen, Chapman from Nelson to Euclid, and Garden Grove Boulevard from Magnolia to Gilbert. The work by the contractor will generally include the reconstruction of the pavement and cost over almost $2.4 million. Staff received and opened 5 bids on July 29th of this year and determined that R.J. Noble was the lowest responsible bidder. Should the council decide to award the contract tonight, the contractor can begin work in September and should be complete in February of next year. This project was included in this year's capital improvement plan and will be paid for with Prop 1B funding, Measure M2 funding. This concludes staff's report.
Any questions for staff? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
So let's go to 9D.
Mr. Mayor, 9D is a contract to Cato Landscaping for irrigation installations on Acacia, Nelson, and Stanford Streets. And Mr. Murray is here to give a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Vertel, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, council is being asked to award a contract to Cato Landscaping Incorporated for the reconstruction of center medians on Acacia from Nelson to 9th, on Nelson Street, south of Garden Grove Boulevard to Stanford, and Stanford in 2 locations, from Euclid to 9th, and from about where the Baptist Church is to 7th Street. There's a median there. The work will include the complete removal and replacement of the landscaping and irrigation with drought-tolerant plants and cost nearly $400,000. Staff received and opened 5 bids on August 6th of this year and determined that Cato Landscaping was the lowest responsible bidder. Should council decide to award the contract tonight, the contractor can begin work in October and should be complete by March of next year. This project was included in this year's capital improvement plan and will be paid for with Measure M and grant funding. This concludes staff's report.
Any questions for staff? Nobody wants to know what kind of plants he's going to put in there? Entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
9E.
This is Bill Murray's last report. It's the right of entry and award of contract for a project involving the Stonegate Condominium Water Project. Mr. Murray.
Thank you, Mr. Fertel, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, council is being asked to approve a right of entry agreement for the reconstruction of water facilities in the Stonegate condo complex located at 12583 Knott Street in Garden Grove. Additionally, the council is being asked to award a construction contract with Frahio Brothers Construction to perform the reconstruction work. The work will generally include the removal, the abandonment and the construction of a new 8-inch water main and the removal and replacement of 11 2-inch water services at a cost of just over $265,000. To date, the service lines have ruptured 5 times, causing extensive damage to the condo property and causing the city to incur the cost of the repairs. Staff received and opened 2 bids on July 22nd of this year and determined that Fajillo Brothers Construction was the lowest responsible bidder. Should the council decide to award the contract and approve the right of entry agreement tonight, the contractor can begin work in September and should be complete by November of this year. This project was included in this year's capital improvement plan and will be paid for using water funds. This concludes staff's report.
Any questions for staff?
No.
Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
9F.
Mr. Mayor, 9F is to consider an operating covenant agreement with AAA Oil for an expansion project here in town, and Mr. Blodgett is here to give a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fertel. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, tonight we have for your consideration an operating covenant agreement with AAA Fuels doing business as California Fuels and Lubricants. The business is located at 11621 and 11671 Westminster Avenue. California Fuels and Lubricants delivers fuels and lubricants throughout Southern California to commercial businesses. CFL has grown from $10,000 in annual revenue in 2005 to a top 10 business with over $32 million in revenue today. The owners of CFL have requested assistance with expansion of their business, including adding additional trucks, tanks, and other commercial equipment. The city, under this agreement, will make payments to CFL in amounts measured by the sales tax revenues. Above the base year sales tax, 50% the incremental value, with a payment of $2 million in total over 10 years. There will be an operating covenant which requires CFL to continually operate its business on the site until June 30th, 2025. This time, staff recommends the City Council take the following actions: adopt a resolution attached, and authorize the City Manager to execute the agreement, including any minor modifications as appropriate, and any other pertinent documents necessary to implement the agreement. We have members from CFL here tonight also. This concludes my report.
Any questions for staff? I'd like to point out that California Fuels and Lubricants is probably the 5th largest generator of sales tax in the city of Garden Grove. We're certainly glad to have you guys aboard. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Let's go to 9G.
Mr. Mayor, 9G is an agreement to purchase property on Tamar Lane, and Mr. Carlos Marquez is here to give a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fertel. Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, the purpose of this report is for the Garden Grove City Council to consider a purchase agreement with Esperanza Grajeda and Isidore Maravilla for the acquisition of real property at 12292 Tamar Lane Drive. Over the past several years, the city has worked with the developer to acquire most of the apartment buildings on Tamar Lane Drive in an effort to improve and stabilize the neighborhood. And recently, the single-family home at 12292 Tamar Lane Drive became available for purchase. This property is located on the east side of Tamar Lane Drive and backs up to a hotel site next to the Sheraton Hotel. To continue the neighborhood stabilization effort on Tamar Lane Drive, staff is requesting that the City Council consider the acquisition of the property. The property was listed on the open market on April 26, 2013, with an asking price of $425,000. The property contains 8,000 square feet of land and is improved with a 987 square foot single-family residence. It is located to the B2 site and may be used to expand the project site. Staff has reached an agreement with the property owners to acquire the property for $385,000, which is at fair market value. The owners will not be eligible for relocation assistance since the property was offered for sale on the open market pursuant to Chapter 7277 of the California Government Code. In an effort to prevent vandalism and generate revenue, the city may lease the subject property at market rates on a month-to-month basis upon the close of escrow. Economic development funds will be used to acquire the property, which were appropriated as part of the current budget. Staff recommends that the City Council approve the acquisition of the subject property, authorize the city manager to execute the purchase agreement and make minor modifications as needed on behalf of the city, authorize the city clerk to accept the grant deed on behalf of the city, Authorize the finance director to draw a warrant in the amount of $385,000 and the funds necessary for closing costs. And authorize the city manager to execute a month-to-month rental agreement on an interim basis. And that concludes the report.
Any questions for staff? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Move to. Second.
Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Let's go to 10A.
Mr. Mayor, before we get started on that, I'd like to recuse myself just to avoid any appearance of impropriety because I have a business relationship with the applicant in this one.
Please recuse yourself.
Mr. Mayor, 10A is a second reading of ordinance number 2833, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove adopting a negative declaration and approving plan unit development number PUD 12913, changing the zoning designation from R1 Single Family Residential to plan unit development number PUD 12913. And ordinance number, one at a time, I'm sorry. True? Yeah. So, a motion on the first ordinance.
Okay, entertain a motion on 10A.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 4 yes votes.
Let's go to 10.
10A2 is ordinance number 2834 for second reading, an ordinance of the City Council of Garden Grove approving a development agreement number DA 19013 between Brandywine Homes and the City of Garden Grove.
Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Motion received, 4 yes votes.
Let's go to matters from the mayor and city council members. Mr. Chris Baird, would you please tell us about your matters?
Well, my matters are, summer seems to be winding down, sadly, but it is also the last concert in the park, in Eastgate Park, there in West Garden Grove. And I encourage people to come out this Thursday night. And they have, I think the band is Stone
It's
Cold?
Motown, Chris.
Motown, okay, thanks. Stone Cold or Soul, yeah, whatever. Yeah, come on out, have a good time. Be a lot of people there. Hope to see my neighbors, friends, and all the people who enjoy soul music and Motown. I'd also like to mention in that end of town, the road improvements are starting on Valley View, so there will be some inconveniences for people. We've bared up with other inconveniences with the freeways and such, but it's going to be a long haul, long process. I think people are going to find their way through the neighborhoods and such, so I encourage people to comply with the rules and the road diversions that there will be. But hopefully most of the traffic inconveniences will happen during the day when most people are at work, but there will be inconveniences nonetheless. But it's well overdue, 30 years in the making, but for the next 20 or so years, we're going to have a great arterial highway on Valley View, so people be aware of that. Also, too, I commend the police department for their efforts in the bicycle fatal reduction campaign. Look at the website. I always encourage people, please view the city's website. It has a lot of information, great information. The police department's doing some really positive, proactive work in helping pedestrians and bicycle accidents in our community, and I commend them for that work. Finally, I received something, we periodically receive legislative updates on matters, and one in particular got my attention. That was related to medical marijuana, SB 439. The city has a legislative program, correct, Mr. City Manager? So how often do we update or review that? Can we add things to it?
Yeah, I think you can always bring, once a year, we bring the legislative platform for the council to adopt as far as corresponding with Sacramento or Washington.
Yeah, just a general question. Something does pop up. Can we agendize it if we so see fit to? Well, this legislation, as proposed, I think, limits cities' abilities to enact measures of restricting or controlling or something related to medical marijuana. My general question is, can we bring up items if they are of such an urgent matter that we want to look at them apart from the annual legislative program? So I think you just answered my question there.
Yeah, you can bring it up and have the council formally adopt it, but if it's generally already within the platform, we usually prepare a letter from the mayor, either expressing support or opposition.
Okay, I will ask at this stage the city staff to review that particular piece of legislation, to see if there is anything that we may want to act on in opposition to that legislation. Because it will affect all our constructive efforts that we made and succeeded at limiting medical marijuana clinics, and I don't want anything momentum to change that, and it's moving forward. So,
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I have a piece of information on that the chief of police just gave to me. He indicated that Senator Steinberg, who is the leader of that bill or who's promoting that bill, has actually just pulled that bill today, so it won't be going forward in this legislative session. We will, of course, still confirm that, and if it does wind up somehow resurrected or still pending, we'll go ahead and bring back that information to you. But apparently, based on the information I was just given, that bill may be dead for this legislative session.
Good to hear that. Thank you.
Your
Thank
work
you.
was well done.
Yeah, well done. Final thing I want to mention and comment on, reading the paper, I saw Mr. Mitchell in the paper, and it was very enjoyable reading. You're a very interesting person, Mr. Mitchell. I knew that before, but even more so with your collection of Army figures, and I guess you're basically the supreme commander of several armies out there. If you didn't see the article, it's very interesting. He has a wonderful hobby related to soldier battles and such, and I can understand where he gets his why he's such a history buff. I enjoyed reading it immensely, and commend you in your hobby. It's very interesting. And with that, that's it. Thank you.
It's only 12 minutes you took today. Not bad.
Okay, I'll be fast.
Go ahead, Dina.
B, if you have an extra flag and you don't mind sharing it with me, I'd like one. I'd like to share the thought with my children. We have a new item that's going to be going out in our water bill, and I want to tell you a little bit about it. It's a magnet. When residents get the water bill this month, they'll also get a small gift, and it's this magnet to remind them to buy in Garden Grove. The Big BIGG campaign is designed to strengthen the community through local buying. Each time you purchase an item in town, you help fund the public safety, city services, and ensure a healthy and growing Garden Grove economy. The goal of BIG is to help local merchants increase sales while offering consumers exclusive incentives for investing their dollars at home. You can get a special discount from participating businesses by visiting the city's website and looking for the Buy in Garden Grove link.
Thank you very much. Chris.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Dina for taking the initiative concerning the landmark issue that we just had the resolution. Thank you for the council for supporting all that. Also, I want to remind that this Saturday we have a senior health fair over at Concord College from, I believe, 11 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. If you happen to have any need for a checkup, such as eye, vision, hearing, please come out. Again, it's on the corner of Euclid and Garden Grove Boulevard. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks. I just want to point out that this weekend, so Saturday beginning at 5 o'clock, and for 20 hours thereafter, there will be a major shutdown of the 405 freeway as a bridge is demolished. So OCTA and Caltrans are referring to it as Bridge Bash. Try and put a kind of a fun-sounding spin on it because it's fun to demolish stuff. But it will close the 405 for 20 hours from Saturday evening till Sunday, and it will be very disruptive for anybody going along that route. So if you don't have to go, or if you are going somewhere, find another route and save yourself the agony of getting caught up in the middle of that.
Bridge Bash. Bridge, how do you say that?
Bridge Bash.
Yeah, sounds like a bunch of card players getting drunk. Okay, I definitely want to thank Dina for the job she did on the recognition of the various sections of Garden Grove tonight. That was really her idea, and she put it together and made it happen, and certainly you definitely deserve the kudos for that. Tonight, we will close in the name of George E. Bud Day. He was an American hero, and we certainly put our hearts out to his family and anybody that's involved with him that probably is having some rough days over this. And we will close till August the 27th. Thank you very much.